Good morning, gang. Grab your Bibles. Matthew 24. We're going to do Matthew 24, 1 through 8 today. Now, this should really be done by Papa because it has some history lesson in it, and he's much better at that than I am. But I'm going to try to work our way through this, and we'll work through it together. Okay, and it says, "And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple." So they were outside the temple, and the temple was an amazing building. Sometime you should read how it was built, how King Solomon built that temple, and it was overlaid with gold. It must have been an amazing building to look at. And they were outside the temple, and the disciples were like, "Look at this temple, Jesus! Isn't this amazing?" And they were amazed by it. They wanted to look at it. And Jesus said unto them, "See ye not all of these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down." Now, Jesus is telling about what was to happen in the future, but it is our past. So it's our history. In AD 70, okay, this is from Papa. In AD 70, the Romans came in and they overtook Jerusalem, and they burnt the temple to the ground. So much so that the gold that was in the temple melded into the stone, and they had to break apart the stones in order to rebuild the temple. So this came true. Okay, what Jesus had just told his disciples came true years later, after Christ had died and left the earth, and after this the disciples were gone. But that was in our past. But now he's going to talk about things that are still in our future. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, we've been there. You can see all of Jerusalem from there. It's amazing. But you look out over the Mount of Olives, and it's amazing. And the disciples came unto him privately, saying, "Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the signs of thy coming and of the end of the world?" Well, it was going to be at different times in history that these things were going to take place. And some of these haven't happened totally yet. "And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you." So don't be deceived by people. There's going to come people into your life that are going to tell you lies. So let's see what he's talking about. Verse 5, "For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many." There have been a lot of people in this world who have come and said that they were a Messiah of some sort, or that they were a great prophet sent from God, and we should believe them. They've all been liars. There's only been one Christ, one real Messiah. "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars." Now, in your lifetime, I don't know that there have been real wars that you would have known about. In my lifetime, there have been. In your parents' lifetime, there have been. And there's been wars in our history. Our history is loaded with wars and rumors of wars. "See that ye be not troubled." I love that line. In the middle of all of this, Christ is talking about the temple being destroyed, and wars and rumors of wars, and people coming to deceive everyone on earth. And he says, "See that ye be not troubled." Why shouldn't we be troubled or worried about things around us? Do you know why? Because we know the true God. We know that he loves us. We know that he came and he died for us. And if something were to happen to us today, we would be in heaven. So we shouldn't be troubled by things. We shouldn't let it burden our life and be so worried about what's going to happen. "For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Okay, he says all of these things have to happen for me to come back to the earth. "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines." That's when there's no food. You can't find any food. And there are a lot of places in the world that are that way. A lot of places in Africa where there's just not enough food. and people are hungry all the time. There shall be famines and pestilence. That means disasters that come into the world, plagues by animals. I think of locusts. That's another African plague where their fields will be decimated. They'll be just wiped out because an insect has come in and eaten everything. There shall be pestilence and earthquakes. Yeah, we lived through a very easy earthquake in Albania while we were there. In different places there will be earthquakes. We have earthquakes right here in Illinois. It's crazy, but we do. And all these things are the beginning of sorrows. Now, the next thing that's going to happen in our we say in the church calendar, okay, the next thing is that Jesus is going to come back and take all of us that are saved to heaven. That's called the rapture, okay? And then it's going to start the tribulation, which is a horrible time here on earth. And there are two parts to the tribulation. The first part's going to be relatively calm and quiet. The Antichrist is going to come, and people are going to get along. But the second part of it, the Bible calls the beginning of sorrows. It's going to be a horrible time on earth, and all these things have to happen before that starts. But in all of this, we are not to be worried because God's in control. And if we put our trust in Him, we don't have anything to worry about. So I hope today you remember that God's in control. When you hear about bad things like this pandemic that we've lived through, and so many people that have died because of it, so many of our friends that have passed away. When we hear about things like that, don't be concerned. God is still in control. And that's always something to remember and to rejoice in and to be glad about. So I have no idea what question I'm going to ask today, but you might want to remember who's in control. I love you. I hope you're having a great day. Bye-bye.